All right, here we go. More Trump executive orders. Sorry, I'm looking a little bit bummy today, but if you're here for good looks, you're in the wrong place. If you're here for good political takes, though, you're probably still in the wrong place. Anyways, so President Trump has issued some more executive orders, and these are in relations to the education system. So there's a lot of parts to this. So we're going to start with the first part, which is what he calls um, enhancing school choice. So I don't have a ton of thoughts on this one because I will admit I'm kind of ignorant on how this could overall play out. I'll give my takes, but don't hold me to them, all right? I admit I am ignorant on this. The next article we will get into is where most of my interest is. But, anyways, so Trump orders education, labor, and other departments to enhance school choice. And this is from NPR. President Donald Trump today directed several government agencies to develop plans for redirecting federal funds in an effort to expand school choice. Parents want and deserve the best education for their children, but too many children do not thrive in their assigned government-run K through 12 school. So it just sounds like, more government bad, public stuff bad. He directed the secretaries of labor and education to review their discretionary grant programs and submit plans to expand education freedom for America's families and teachers. Trump ordered the education secretary within 60 days to issue guidance to states on how they can use federal funds to support school choice. The order also directs the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, to submit a plan outlining how Defense Department funds can be used to allow military families to send their children to schools of their choice. So, from my understanding, you've always had the choice of sending your kid to public school, private school, or homeschooling them. From my understanding, public schools are funded, by the public, by taxes, and you don't have to pay like any sort of tuition or anything for K through 12 education. For a private school, you normally have to pay, almost like a tuition, like you're going to college. And I think that can be like over $10,000 a year or something like that. Don't quote me. So it sounds like, they want to redirect public dollars, that is currently going to public schools to also start going to private schools. So let's finish reading here. Among other things, the order also called for greater school choice in the Bureau of Indian Education and for the Secretary of Health and Human Services to explore whether block grants for children and families can be redirected to expand educational choice. So they're really framing it on educational choice. That's intentional. Like they're making it sound like before you didn't have a choice. You had to send your kid to, public schools. So, it's marketing the order. The nation's two largest teachers unions, the National Education Association, NEA, and the American Federation of Teachers, AFT, condemned the executive action. Randy Weingarten, sorry, that's probably not how you pronounce it. I don't have such a weird fucking name. President of the AFT told NPR she is disappointed that Trump was calling for such a broad repurposing of discretionary funds from government agencies towards private education. It's a direct attack on all parents and the families and the kids who actually go to public schools. EdChoice, a group that supports the expansion of school choice, celebrated the move. President Trump's executive order to prioritize and expand school choice programs is a crucial step towards empowering families and giving them greater control over their children's education, Robert Enlow, the president and CEO of EdChoice, wrote in a statement. The Senate has not yet scheduled a confirmation hearing for Trump's education secretary nominee, Linda McMahon. Jesus fucking Christ. I forgot about Linda McMahon, the former WWE business executive and current wife, ex-wife, some form of wife to Vince McMahon. Eesh. So Regarding this redirecting of funding, from my understanding, there's already a bunch of red states that kind of have laws where you can take, basically the money, I don't know how to word this, the money that your child would have gotten towards public education, you can take that as a grant to go to a private school and essentially go to private school for free or at least at a major discount, from my understanding. So that's already happening in a lot of red states. So this order seems to, just kind of make it nationwide. So my initial thoughts on this is, does this mean private schools are going to become free for everyone? Or even though public funding is going to be going to it, they're still going to cost money. And there's there's already a funding problem with public schools and public education. Like, in a lot of cases, they're not getting enough funding. You've always heard the stories. Teachers are grossly underpaid. They normally have to pay out of pocket for simple fucking school supplies because the school won't buy them for whatever reason. And just to take even more funds away from the public schooling system in favor of private schools is just, from my ignorant understanding, seems very dumb. And at this point, I don't know why he just doesn't fucking get rid of the public education system and just privatize the whole fucking thing. Because what this is going to do. Does public education have a lot of issues? Of course. But how do you fix them? Not by cutting funding and fucking, flipping the table over and saying, well, it sucks, so let's make it worse. So essentially, they're going to take something that already has issues and make it worse, and then use that in the future to be like, see, look at how awful these public schools are. You know how they do this. So yeah, that's my take on it. If you think I'm wrong, if you think I am completely misunderstanding this, comment section below. Next, so this is the one that I have a lot of thoughts about, just because it's just crazy. It is mind-boggling. So from CBS News, Trump takes aim at critical race theory in schools, and then protests on college campuses in new executive order. So President Trump is ordering U.S. schools to stop teaching what he views as critical race theory and other material dealing with race and sexuality, or risk losing their federal money. A separate plan announced Wednesday calls for aggressive action to fight anti-Semitism on college campuses, promising to prosecute offenders and revoke visas for international students found to be Hamas sympathizers. I thought this was the free speech guy. I thought we were all about free speech. I thought we were about free speech. Now, I'm going to also give shit to the Democrats here, because they are no better in this situation. There's like over, I think, 3,000 college kids that were arrested. And I have a bridge to sell you if you think they were all Hamas sympathizers. You know how this goes. They take a rally, or sorry, a protest. Let's say there's 300 kids there. Let's say you have one that fucking sprays a Hamas fucking logo or some fucking writing somewhere. All of a sudden, the government and everyone on both sides of the aisle, Democrat and Republican, say, you're supporting Hamas. You are a Hamas sympathizer. You're supporting terrorism. You're all like, they condemn the entire protest. On the other side of the coin, it's not much better. They just say straight from the get up that any pro-Palestinian protest, or just anti-genocide protest, protesting the genocide in Israel, that even with no crazy fucking idiots yelling go Hamas, with actual real pro-Palestinian protesters just trying to protest a genocide, they will just say, you're all Hamas sympathizers. You're all like that. They just say that because they view pro-Palestine as the same thing as pro-Hamas. Both sides are guilty of that, Democrat and Republican. But Trump is really, taking the extra leap here with saying, now we can revoke your visas and deport you. So what happened to free speech? What happened to free speech? Anyways, I digress. Not the point of this video. So critical race theory. We're going to get into that more in this article. So both plans were outlined in executive orders signed by Mr. Trump on Wednesday. The measures seek to fulfill some of the Republican president's core campaign promises around education, though it's unclear how much power he has to enact the proposals. His order on K through 12 schools declares that federal money cannot be used on the indoctrination of children, including radical gender ideology and critical race theory. It says civil rights laws barring discrimination based on sex and race would be used to enforce the order, calling critical race theory an inherently racist policy. Really? By the way, this is just another straw man that the right wants to beat to death instead of, so you don't look up and see where the real issues are. They're not teaching people in fucking K through 12 education or any education to be uncomfortable in their bodies, that they should consider getting sex changes, and that they act like they're pushing this ideology on people, like all this just weird fucking shit. And they're not. And so that's for the radical gender ideology part. But for critical race theory, they're referring to, like, if you teach about history and you say, yeah, America was kind of built on slavery. We had slaves until the Civil War. Just stuff like that. Black people couldn't vote until this year. Women couldn't vote until this year. Just pointing out historical things about the U.S. and of that nature. Basically, they don't want you to talk about, like, hey, we used to enslave people based on their skin color. No. They act like, this shit's racist, and we'll get into it. So examples cited in the order included policy at Harrisonburg City Public Schools in Virginia requiring teachers to use students' preferred names and pronouns. Let me read that again. Examples cited in the order included a policy at Harrisonburg City Public Schools in Virginia requiring teachers to use students' preferred names and pronouns. How dare you? How dare you refer to a student by the name and pronoun that they prefer to be referred to? No, if they are biologically this and they say, hey, I'm uncomfortable if you call me by that, I actually go by that. No, you tell them to fuck off and you tell them they're a he or him. Like, listen, I get it. This shit can be nonsense. All these different names and all these different genders and sexualities and all that. I get it. It's exhausting. It's annoying. But let's be adults and realize that it doesn't hurt you. It just annoys you. There's no need to be a fucking asshole about it. Like, you're mad because teachers are required to treat students with respect and respect their views and beliefs. Are you kidding me? Another policy at Madison Metropolitan School District in Wisconsin says schools should disrupt the gender binary by teaching students to embrace different gender identities, according to the order. I would have to read more on that, but I'll bet you $80 that it's completely overblown and it's nowhere near as bad as they're putting it out to be, considering the first thing they fucking cite is, how dare teachers be required to call students by their preferred names and pronouns? How dare they? Like, what the fuck are we doing? Why is this taking... Why? Just talk about government overreach. Like, just fucking... How about you focus on things that actually help people? The Education Department's Office for Civil Rights investigates allegations of civil rights violations and can post sanctions up to a total loss of federal money, though that penalty has almost never been used and must be approved by a judge. So he might try, but hopefully it would just, be repealed by a judge. But who fucking knows? Who fucking knows, man? We're living in like the fucking 60s, and I don't mean the 1960s. We're going straight back to the fucking 1800s. Like, I just don't know what we're doing and why this shit is such like an important issue to these people. It makes no sense. Care about healthcare. Care about fucking homelessness or improving wages or lowering prices. Anything but this shit. It's such a waste of time. And it's just hateful. Oh, the order is an attempt to suppress teaching about race and racism, said Trey Walker, researcher and advocate with Human Rights Watch. Yeah, exactly what I said. Students have a right to learn about how discrimination can be entrenched in law and society. If the U.S. denies young people this knowledge, it has little hope of eradicating racism. Yes, that's all true. It's all true. But no, the Republicans are just going to pretend that racism doesn't exist, even though they're the most racist motherfuckers on the planet. Like, what are we doing? Trump also directs the education secretary to craft a strategy within 90 days to end indoctrination in K through 12 education. Mr. Trump has appointed billionaire professional wrestling mogul Linda McMahon as his education. Yeah. During his campaign, Trump said he would sign an order on day one to cut federal money for schools that push critical race theory or other inappropriate content. The federal government provides billions of dollars to schools every year, though the vast majority of their money comes from state and local sources. This measure taps into a wave of conservative anger that has taken aim at classroom lessons that some see as too liberal. A growing number of Republican states have adopted laws or rules barring teaching of critical race theory or divisive concepts in public schools and universities. But at the same time, I don't remember what state it was, but there's a state where the governor signed a law that basically puts the Bible in every school. Not only just the Bible, but the Trump Bible. Trump's, it's like, I think it's the Bible and the Constitution all in one thing. So, like, how are people falling for this shit, man? How? I just don't get it. So, opponents say the rules impose vague restriction on teachers and create a chilling effect on discussions about history and other subjects. The term critical race theory is sometimes used by conservatives as a catch-all for subjects they don't want to be taught in the classroom, literally though. Though in reality, it refers to a complex academic and legal framework centered on the idea that racism is embedded in the nation's systems. Trump's plan to fight anti-Semitism would marshal all federal resources and bring immediate action from the Justice Department to investigate and punish offenders on U.S. campuses. It calls for deportation of non-residents who violate our laws. Citing previous threats, Trump to revoke student visas for international students who attend pro-Palestine protests. So it's even laid out here, pro-Palestine. Like, I mean, Trump has used Palestinian as an insult before. Like, what are we doing? Trump's actions promise to protect law and order, quell pro-Hamas vandalism and intimidation, and investigate and punish anti-Jewish racism in leftist anti-American colleges and universities. It drew swift backlash from civil rights groups who said campus protests have mostly been peaceful and are protected by constitutional free speech rights. Trump doesn't know what that means. Edward Ahmed Mitchell, National Deputy Director for the Council on American Islamic Relations, said the action is discriminatory and wrongly characterizes protesters as pro-jihadist or pro-Hamas. Yes, as we touched on earlier, these college students were Jewish, Muslim, Black, Palestinian, and various other races who were simply protesting what they viewed as a genocide in Gaza, Mitchell said. They are no different than students who protested Vietnam or segregation or apartheid in South Africa. Tensions over the Israel-Hamas war led to emotional demonstrations on U.S. campuses, including a wave of pro-Palestinian tent encampments that led to, about 3,200 arrests. The Biden administration opened more than 100 investigations into alleged anti-Semitism and Islamophobia at schools and universities after the Hamas October 7th, 2023 attack on Israel. A flurry of schools reached deals to settle cases before Trump took office amid fears that he would issue heavier sanctions. The White House on Wednesday also reinstated an order from Trump's first term establishing the 1776 Commission to promote patriotic education in U.S. schools. Biden revoked the order and Commission's Guide for Teaching History. The guide played down America's role in slavery and argued that the civil rights movement ran afoul of the lofty ideals espoused by the founding fathers. It was widely panned by historians who said it was outdated and ignored decades of research. Yeah, so like I said, they want to pretend that that the U.S. wasn't built in slavery. They want to pretend that there didn't have to be like fucking huge civil rights movements to get rights for, people of color, get rights for women. No, we just want to pretend none of that. Just, it's ridiculous, man. It is ridiculous. So, this is what Trump's legislative priorities are. We've already seen, ending of all DEI programs and even affirmative action programs. I've already given my stances on DEI. The type of DEI where you're having departments to just tell people don't be racist. Yeah, that shit's a waste. And if you're racist, someone saying don't be racist and this is how your racism hurts people, it's not going to make people less racist. Um, as someone who lives in a very rural area, these people just get more racist when you do this. But having guidelines and anti-discrimination laws and general DEI guidelines are fine. That's all fine. Like, just getting rid of them is just sending a message that you're really leaning into what people always say, and it's just you're racist, sexist, transphobic. Yeah. He's been, mass deporting like a motherfucker. We just heard that Guantanamo Bay is going to be opening up like 30,000 fucking beds for deportees, and that we've already confirmed aren't actual violent criminals or anything. They're criminals in the sense that they're just here illegally. So that means they can go to fucking a terrorist prison. Oh my God, man. So, and also he's going after legal immigrants too. He's revoking the TPS, the temporary protected status for Venezuelans who are here, and they had that extended. They came legally. They went through a legal process to get here. As I believe like refugees because of what's going on there. But no, even though they went through the process and came here legally, they're gone. Get them out of here. And then the absolute war on trans people, just kind of what we read in this article, and the ending of, government support for gender affirming care, an order saying male and female, only two genders, blah, 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 transferring fucking trans women to men's prisons. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Pardoned 1,000 January 6ers, or sorry, it's like 1,500, and they were supposed to be non-violent ones. But hey, we found out that a lot of them were violent and on video, and I think one was a PEDO. So, what are we doing? What are we doing? Where's the lowering of grocery prices? Where is improving our wages? Where is literally anything but all this nonsense? If you are still supporting Trump at this point, please, please, please tell me why. I need to know. I need to know. Because I feel like I'm losing my fucking mind here, honestly. Anyways, leave a comment. Let me know what you think down below. And I will see you next time. If you made it to this point in the video, I just want to give a special thank you. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, maybe consider hitting that subscribe button while you're down there. I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section. I will try to reply to any and all comments that I can. Until next time, watch that video on screen.